Today we're giving you guys an honest review of Mandapa, a Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Bali, Indonesia. This resort is one of Ritz-Carlton's distinct reserves. The reserve resorts stand above all of the other Ritz-Carltons, offering exceptional service, curated amenities, and impeccable dining. Well, we will be the judge of that. And with that, let's head into the lush forest of Indonesia. If you're into unique and luxury travel, make sure to hit that follow and like button below. The resort is located in Ubud, a forested area of Bali. Turning into the resort, you would have no idea that there's such a hidden oasis awaiting behind the gates. And of course, driving in, you're greeted by security, which I do appreciate when you're on vacation because it is nice to know that you're going to be safe and comfortable, even though Bali is very safe as it is. And once you pass security, you travel down a vine-hanging road with water features on both sides until you reach the central courtyard, which is as far as the cars can go, and from there on you have to take buggies or walk. What's really unique about this resort is there's not really a lobby or a registration area. You actually do all of your check-in process from your room. Well, there is like an entrance area, which is absolutely incredible, but all of the registration, the paperwork, handing over your credit card is done in your room. I think it adds another level of privacy and exclusivity. I don't know, or they're just trying to be extra. When I tell you guys I was blown away by the view at the entrance, that's a complete understatement. The entrance area sits high, it's like almost being in the clouds. It cascades over a lush forest surrounded by views of the river. There's a rice field and you can see the pool in the center, and obviously the resorts and the villas. There's a bunch of infinity water features throughout the entire entrance area, and they use a mix of woods, water, obviously, rocks, and a variety of materials. This is a total Indonesian modern vibe. I'm definitely here for it. So once you've got your fix at the entrance, the butler and the baggage guy, they kind of load up all of your bags into the buggy and you start making your ride to their room. It's almost like you're traveling down a mountain to get to a village in the valley. And it had just rained, so the water in the river was a little brownish, but I mean, it is what it is. We finally made it to the villa, and let me tell you guys, amazing. We used American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts and booked the private pool riverfront villa. We used points totaling about $188,000, which would come out to about $1,800 a night if purchased outright in cash, but we used points. That included an upgrade if available. I don't really know if we got an upgrade or not, but I was happy with the room, so I can't really complain. It came with daily breakfast for two, a late checkout at 4 p.m., which we did utilize, and a $100 credit to use at the resort. This hotel obviously is expensive, so my expectations were very high, and so far they've been met. And walking into your like little villa area, it was like your own piece of heaven. It was a serene area. You had to the left, you had your outdoor living room, which also could be closed. Then you had a massive infinity pool, completely unnecessary but amazing, and then obviously your main accommodations. I honestly don't know if anybody else was staying in the vicinity. I don't think I really saw one other person walking down our area of villas. The villa itself was bordering the river. I think it was probably 4 over from the edge. You could see a waterfall. You could obviously see the river. It was just being in that little courtyard area. It wasn't little actually, even for a 1-bedroom villa. It felt so spacious. You can tell that they carefully curated the entire room, entrance, bathroom. I love the fact how you had the plants with the indoor-outdoor shower, but you also had the plant kind of like picture frame throughout a variety of the spaces. Behind the bed, you had that kind of plant area which would be lit up at night. It was really pretty. And also along the seating area in the bedroom and by the beautiful soaking tub. I really like how they used those dark woods throughout the entire space. It was really comfortable. It felt very clean. I mean, it was very clean. I guess for $1,800 a night, it should be spotless, which it was. After we got all settled in, it's time to explore the property. The grounds are expansive. In the center, you have a really cool infinity pool. I feel like a lot of the resorts, the higher end resorts here in Bali, they tend to have really unique infinity pools. In the States, I feel like infinity pools, you don't see them that often. And here they're like all like a complete variety of pools, which is, I find kind of cool. So you have the main pool. All of the villas, as far as I know, have pools also. And then next to the pool, you have the rice fields. The rice fields, honestly, I feel like you could just take a book, you can go on a walk, you can stroll through it. I love how they incorporated the rice field into the center of the resort. And another really cool thing about it is that they do actively farm the rice. There was a gentleman there at one point, I saw him tending to the rice. It's just kind of a cool experience just to be able to watch it and see, because you don't realize like how much work actually goes into producing rice. So it was nice. It was a nice experience to see somebody, manning the fields. Honestly, we wanted to spend a lot of our time in the villa just because it was so nice. And the fact that the pool overlooked the river, you could see people river rafting, which we actually do. You can see later on in this video. We really just wanted to hang out in the villa. We did for a little while. We went swimming, but we knew that we were only going to be here, unfortunately, for one night. We were planning on using a late checkout. And then it was time to get ready and head to our tasting dinner. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I always go for the tasting, and generally only at their signature restaurant. I really do appreciate the entire culinary experience that goes along with it. You generally get a variety of foods, flavors, textures, and it really shows you what the chef and the restaurant is capable of achieving. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's just one of the experiences that I appreciate when I'm kind of on vacation or traveling. So Brad says he doesn't really like the tasting menus because he's kind of more particular than I am, and also he has a little bit more dietary restrictions. I like to eat everything. Luckily for us though, the restaurant Kubu was right down the kind of walkway from our villa, so it was an easy walk. The buggy can take you, but I felt it was a little wasteful to take a buggy when we could just walk, and it was kind of getting around sunset time. It was the perfect time. You only have to book for the cocoons. I think there's like 7 cocoons that kind of border the restaurant, and they're right on the edge with views of the river. When we went there was not a lot of people there. There was a handful of people, and it kind of stayed that way all night. So I don't really even know if booking the cocoon was necessary, but anyway, I did it just to be safe. And I know we decided to do a tasting menu. However, I think it was around 10 main courses, and then they had, your starter and extra desserts and things like that. But it had to have been all of 3 hours. The food was I would say decent. It was better. It was a good value for what you were paying for compared to the more traditional tasting menus. But let me tell you, it took, I think, like I said, 3 hours. And I feel like anytime over 2 hours for a traditional kind of standard tasting is excessive. And by then we were just beyond ready to go. Overall though, the service was really good. The food, like I said, was good. Would I do it again? No, I would have just, if I, could go back and change it, I would just order off of the regular menu and probably not gone through the headache of booking the cocoon. But I mean, the views were nice. It did rain the night before, or the night before. So the water was a little brown, but once the sun goes down, you can't tell the difference anyway. And then when we got back to the room, it was really nice. They had laid out a happy belated birthday to me because my birthday was a few days before. And it was really pretty. They had like local flowers spread out to spell it, and along the bed with a chocolate cake. It was a really nice gesture. And then when the turn down service comes in at some point, I think they try to stagger it and book it when they know that you're going to be at dinner, which was nice. They closed the living room off. It was nice. Everything was lit up. And then the shower, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but the shower was really, really cool. And the fact that they incorporated the plants into the outdoor shower. So when you're showering there were like plants growing around you, and they were, obviously they were already grown, but they were coming into the shower. They weren't just like around it, like a few plants around it, like sometimes they try to do. They were like, the shower was like infused with nature. So luckily for us, we did book through Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts, so we were able to get a late checkout. The next place we're going to is about 20 minutes, and our driver was ready to pick us up at 3 o'clock. We had a little bit of time to explore the grounds more, get something to eat, get a few drinks. So we went to the pool restaurant, which is overlooking the pool and the rice fields. It was a gorgeous day, the sun was out, and yeah, there's a really nice view in that area. And I honestly don't know how many people were actually at the resort, because the pool area and like when I was walking around in the morning, there's not really a lot of people out, which is, I kind of appreciate that too. We also decided that we were going to do the river rafting today, so our butler had it all set up for us. The buggy was ready to pick us up, take us to the top, because obviously it is a journey, and I did it once this morning and I was not about to do it again. They took us to the top, the car was ready, they drove us about 20 minutes up the road to the location where we would go rafting. And the nice part about this is that once you finished rafting, they were able to basically we pulled right up to our hotel, so we didn't have to like get in a car and drive back to the hotel. That was probably the best aspect of it. I would highly recommend doing the rafting. It was a really cool experience. It wasn't too crazy. It wasn't like you weren't gonna drown or get thrown out of it. I mean, unless you were acting crazy or drunk, which we weren't. But it was cool. It was a nice aspect. It was definitely a cool part of this stay. And the crazy part about it is you don't realize like how high you are when you're driving into the location where you check in to go rafting. But walking down, I think the guy said it was 500 and something actual stairs. So by the time you get down to the water, you are ready to like get in the water and get moving. All right, guys, it's time. Here's our honest review of Mandapa, a Ritz-Carlton Reserve. Overall, the lobby honestly took my breath away. I was not expecting it to be so beautiful with the water features and the different mixtures of organic materials like the rocks, how they incorporated the rocks into the actual fountains. And I did appreciate the fact that they did check in your room. I felt it was like another level of like a higher end service and privacy. That was a cool aspect. So with that, I'm giving the lobby a solid 9. And the service, the butler was definitely punctual from the beginning. When you were leaving, they made sure to wave goodbye. Not that you needed like a send-off, but all of the staff overall, if you needed something, they were there. I'm gonna give them a 9. The villa was definitely met all expectations, especially with the $1,800 price tag of this room if you were gonna pay for it. So the villa itself, and obviously the massive pool, I'm gonna give the villa a 9. Unfortunately, I had higher expectations for the tasting menu. The fact that it was 3 hours long definitely knocked it down a few points, but it was a good value. I'm going to give it a 6. And the overall resort, absolutely stunning. I love the water features, the rice field in the center. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Thank you guys so much again for taking the time to watch this video. If you appreciated what you saw, make sure to like it, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe.